Taking a few moments to connect with your breath, making it deep and full, filling up your lungs, your diaphragm, your belly. And on your next inhale, gently press up to tabletop, making sure that your knees are in line with your hips and your wrists in line with your shoulders. And we'll take a few rounds of cat-cow. So on your inhale, sink your belly down as you gaze up. And exhale, arch through your back, chin towards your chest. Inhale, sink your belly down, gaze up. Exhale, chin towards your chest. And continue to move here with your breath. And when you come into cat pose, really arch the back. And on your inhale, come back to tabletop. And bring your belly button toward your spine. And on your inhale, reach your right leg back behind, flexing through the foot, making sure that you're not opening up that right hip. Stay here, gazing down toward your hands, or reach your left arm out in front. Pausing here. With each inhale, see if you can lengthen out through the fingertips and the heel. And with your exhale, maintain that length. One more breath here. And on your exhale, release the hand and the knee. Belly button toward your spine. Reach that left leg back behind, flexing through the foot, keeping the hips nice and even, no dipping in the low back. And if you'd like, extending that right arm out in front. And with each inhale, continuing to lengthen, and with your exhale, maintain that length. And on your exhale, place the hand and the leg. And then curl your toes under. Press your hips up and back, downward facing dog, keeping your knees very bent here. Pressing your palms and your fingertips into the mat. Shoulder blades are onto your back. Keep the knees bent, working the hips up toward the ceiling. Good, one more breath here. And then on your exhale, bring your knees down toward the floor, keeping the knees hovering about an inch, belly button toward your spine. And on your exhale, lift your hips up and back, straightening through the legs, downward facing dog. Good, and then just walking your dog, alternating, bending one knee, straightening the other, just creating some movement in the legs, lengthening through the spine. Good, and come back to downward facing dog. And on your inhale, bend the knees, bring the knees into that hovering tabletop. And on your exhale, bend your elbows, bring the torso forward and come into chaturanga. Inhale, come back to that hovering tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll just continue to move here through the hovering tabletop to chaturanga, hovering tabletop, downward facing dog. And just take a few rounds, warming up through the body. And take one more. Bend the knees, hug the belly button in. And pause in downward facing dog. And then on your next inhale, bend your knees, walk your hands back toward your feet. And come into a forward fold, just reaching the crown of the head down toward the mat, putting a bend in the knees, resting the torso on your upper thighs, releasing your head and your neck. And then stay here with the knees bent, or you can start to straighten the legs and just get a nice stretch through the backs of the legs, the hamstrings, the calves. One more breath here. And on your inhale, root down through your feet as you sweep your arms out and up. Then exhale, palms come down to heart center. Inhale the arms up, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale your heart forward, hands can come to the shins or out underneath the shoulders. Exhale, fold. Root down through the feet, sweep the arms out and up. And exhale, palms come down to heart center. Inhale, arms up, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. We're going to take a full Surya Namaskara, A. Exhale down, and then walk the hands out. So this is kind of a different variation since we're at the back part of our mat. Exhale, lower down through chaturanga. Inhale to cobra or upward dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees, walk the hands back toward the feet. Forward fold on your exhale. Root down through your feet as you inhale the arms out and up. And exhale, palms come down to heart center. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Walking the hands forward. Come into plank pose. Hug the elbows in as you lower down for chaturanga. Cobra or upward dog on your inhale. And exhale, downward facing dog. And then walk the hands back toward the feet. Root down through your feet. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. And exhale, palms come down to heart center. And on your next inhale, bring all of your weight onto your left foot, lifting that right knee out in front. Really hug that knee in and up, using those low abs and the hip flexors to hold that leg up. One more breath. Good, and then on your exhale, step the leg forward, bend through that right leg, and come into crescent lunge. Inhale the arms up. Good, pausing here, maybe you can sink a little deeper. If you feel any pulling on your low back, put a bend in that left knee. Good, and then on your exhale, bring your right hand to your hip. Inhale that left arm up, and on your exhale, tilt over to the right. Good, getting a stretch from that left hip all the way up through the left fingertips. Good, inhale the torso back to the center, sweep the right arm up. Exhale, place the hands to frame the foot, step back to plank. Take a vinyasa. And meet in downward facing dog. Walk the hands back toward the feet. Root down through your feet, sweep your arms out and up. And exhale, palms come down to heart center. Switching sides. All of your weight comes onto that right foot, left knee is out in front. Pausing here. Pull the belly button toward your spine. And then start to straighten that leg, stepping the leg forward. And adjusting your feet, coming into crescent lunge. Inhale the arms up. Pulling those low ribs in, low abs in. Exhale, release the left hand down to your hip. Inhale your right arm up, and exhale, tilt over to the left. Inhale, come back to the center, sweep the left arm up. Exhale, place the hands to frame the foot, step back to plank. Take a vinyasa. And come to downward facing dog. Good, and then walk your hands back toward your feet. Root down through your feet, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, palms come down to heart center. Back to that first side. Right leg out in front. Pausing here. Straighten through that right leg, step forward. Come into your crescent lunge. Open the arms out to the sides, and on your exhale, twist to the right. Stay here, or bring your hands to heart center. Stay here, or hook your left elbow to the outside of that right leg. And come into a twisted lunge. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, place the hands to frame the foot, step back to plank. Take a vinyasa. Walk your hands back toward your feet, root down through the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, palms come down to your heart center. Left knee out in front. Straighten that left leg, step forward. Crescent lunge. Inhale, open the arms. Exhale, twist to the left. Stay here or bring hands to heart center. Stay here or hook your right elbow toward the outer left knee. Good. Inhale, come back to the center. Sweep the arms up. Exhale, place the hands. Step back to plank. Take a vinyasa. And come back to downward facing dog. Good. Bend your knees. Walk the hands back toward your feet. Root down as you sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, palms come down to heart center. Inhale, that right knee out in front. Exhale, step forward. Come into that crescent lunge. And place your left hand down as you sweep that right arm up. And then plant that left hand and start to lift your right leg, or maybe use your hand to help bring that right leg on top of the left leg. Come into Vashisthasana or side plank. Scooping the hips up. Good, one more breath. And exhale, place that right hand down, come into plank. Lower all the way down. Bring the tops of the feet down. Walk your hands back. Press your palms into the mat, keeping your gaze down. On your inhale, pull your belly button toward your spine. Press those hip bones down, and then press into your palms as you lift your chest, your head, and your feet. Coming into a locust variation here. Working the back body. And exhale, lower down. Bend the elbows, place the hands underneath your shoulders. Curl your toes under, engage the thighs, and then either press up to plank or tabletop and downward facing dog. Bend the knees, walk the hands back toward the feet. Root down through the feet as you sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, palms come down to heart center. Switching sides. Left knee comes out in front. Exhale, straighten the legs, step forward. Crescent lunge. And place your right hand down. Inhale that left arm up. And then stack that left leg over the top of that right leg. Come into side plank on the second side. Scooping the hips up. Stacking those shoulders. And exhale, place the left hand down. Come into plank. Lower all the way down. Tops of the feet come down. Bring the hands down by the sides, pressing the palms into the mat. Hollow out through your belly. And on your inhale, lift your head, your shoulders, your feet. Maybe you stay here pressing the palms into the mat, or maybe you reach the arms back and come into locust. Exhale, lower down. Bend the elbows. Take a breath. And curl the toes under. Engage the thighs. Press up through plank or tabletop to downward facing dog. And then on your inhale, bend your knees and look forward. Step the feet right behind the wrists. Turn the toes slightly out. Lower your hips down. Bring your palms either out in front, pressing into the earth, or you can bring your palms to touch, coming into Malasana or Garland pose. Sinking the hips down. And if you find that this is difficult and you have a block, you can set your block underneath your sitting bones. But a squat is really great to practice or to add into your practice, just because it releases those hip flexors and you get a deep, deep stretch. in the front of the hips. Good, one more breath. Pressing your chest forward, shoulder blades onto your back. And then bring your hands down, pick up your hips on your inhale. Bring the feet a little bit closer together, and if you'd like, come into crow pose or bakasana, working the knees as far up on the upper arms as you can. And then once you feel ready, lifting the feet. Good. And exhale, release the feet down. And then just pick up your hips, heel toe your feet so they're a comfortable distance. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. And exhale, palms come down to heart center. All right, Surya Namaskar B. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, sit the hips down. Utkatasana chair pose. Pull the low belly in. Tailbone is working down toward the floor. Maybe you can sink a little deeper. Hugging those inner thighs toward each other. Weight is very heavy in the heels. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale your heart forward. Exhale, place the hands and either step back to plank or hop back to chaturanga. Inhale to cobra or upward dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up behind. Exhale, bend the knee toward the nose, scoop up in the belly, step the foot in between the hands. Option to bring that back heel down and come into warrior one. But I like to keep the back heel up just to keep the hips square. So inhale, the torso up, crescent lunge. Good, exhale, place the hands to frame the foot, step back to plank, lower down through chaturanga, cobra or upward dog, and downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up, exhale knee toward the nose, scoop up in the belly, step the foot in between the hands. Option for warrior one, otherwise inhale, arms up, crescent lunge. And exhale, place the hands to frame the foot, step back to plank, take a vinyasa. And come to downward facing dog. And on your inhale, bend your knees, look forward, step or hop your feet behind your wrists. Option to take crow pose. Otherwise, you can take malasana, that's squat. Good, if you're in crow, bring the toes down, turn the toes slightly out, hips come down, come back into malasana. Good, and then just walk your hands back behind your hips, come to sitting, extend your legs out in front. Sitting up nice and tall, place your hands next to your hips. Engage your palms into the floor. Make that contact so that you're engaging your triceps or those outer upper arm muscles. Flexing through your feet, pressing the backs of the legs into the mat, Dandasana staff pose. And walk your hands back a few inches behind your hips. Fingertips can point toward your hips or out to the sides. And then press your heels into the mat. And on your inhale, lift your hips up, coming into reverse plank. Good. Scooping the hips up. And exhale, lower the hips down. Come back to Dandasana, hands next to your hips. Good. And then we're going to open the legs nice and wide. And just bring your hands behind your hips, sitting up tall at first, and maybe you stay here. Maybe this feels like enough of a stretch. Otherwise, walk your hands forward. Maybe you come down to your forearms. Maybe use a block underneath your forearms. Or maybe you use a block underneath your forehead. And just see if you can settle into this pose, breathing into the inner thighs, the hamstrings, the glutes, and see if you can relax all the muscles through your face, your shoulders, your neck. And on your inhale, gently bring the torso up, walk the hands back toward the body. Use your hands at the backs of the legs to bend the knees. Bring the soles of your feet to touch. Holding onto your ankles or placing your hands back behind your hips. Inhale, lifting the chest up and just pausing here. Feeling your shoulder blades working into your back. An option to stay here, otherwise gently use the arms to bring the torso forward. If you're feeling any pulling on your low back, walk the feet out slightly or bring the torso back up. And just take a few breaths here in this bound angle pose. And on your inhale, coming out of this Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose, using your hands on the outsides of the knees. And then just lowering yourself down onto your back, hugging your knees in toward your chest, and maybe rocking from side to side, just massaging through the low back. And bring the knees back to the center. Open the knees out to the sides, keeping the knees bent. Bring your arms in between your legs, reaching for your outer shins, ankles, or feet. Then extend the feet up toward the ceiling, almost as if you're squatting on the ceiling. And gently use your arms to pull the legs and the inner thighs down alongside the body, coming into happy baby pose. Working your tailbone down toward the mat and lengthening through your spine. And then grabbing onto your big toes. Inhale, straighten through that right leg, keeping the left knee bent and just stretching through the back of the right leg, the hamstring, where the hamstring connects to the glutes. And bend that right knee, extend the left leg. Come back to happy baby and release the feet, bringing the soles of the feet down to the mat. Cross your right leg over your left. Open your arms out into a T, or you can bend your elbows and cactus your arms. And on your exhale, release your knees over to the left, keeping your gaze up toward the ceiling or out toward that right hand. And coming into a nice gentle recline twist. And inhale, bringing the knees back to the center. Uncross that right leg. Cross the left leg over the right. And then on your exhale, release the knees over to the right side. And inhale, come back to the center. Hug the knees in toward your chest. And on your exhale, release the legs down so that the backs of the legs rest on the earth. Heels are hip distance apart, allowing the toes to drop out to the sides. Bringing your arms near your sides with your palms facing up. Rolling the shoulder blades under slightly. Closing your eyes. And just taking a few moments to rest here in Shavasana. And stay as long as you'd like. And when you're ready, gently bringing your knees in toward your chest. And rolling over to one side, lifting yourself up to sitting. Bringing the palms together in front of your heart. Bowing your head in gratitude toward your practice. Namaste.